Hi, welcome to Just Common Sense. My name's Brian Harrison. Hey guys, I got Jerry on the phone again. We got a lot to talk about, a few things. We're going to keep it not as long. This is going to be a much shorter podcast tonight than it usually is, only because there's a lot to talk about, but we don't want to keep dragging over and over and over through the same stuff. So that being said, say hi, Jerry.
Hi, Jerry.
Okay, there you go. So anyway, I want to talk about the truck drivers because I bring them up a lot in and at the end of every podcast. Guys, I commend you right now. I commend you more than you would know right now with what you're doing in Canada. Keep up the good work. Keep the pressure going. I'm going to say it. Keep the pressure going. Truck drivers in the U.S., you want to do the same thing? Go for it. It's time to stand up against this stuff. I'm going to say it. Stand up. Fight against this. Don't get out there and physically fight. You know what I'm saying? But definitely stand up against this. Look, I hear right now that truck drivers in Canada, people are handing them gas because it's so cold up there right now. They're just sitting there, and it's so cold that if you even hand them gas to keep their trucks running, they got families and stuff in their trucks, the police are stopping it, putting people in jail for even trying to do that or give them food or anything. Guys, hell with it. Give them food and gas. Don't pay attention to it. Just continue to do this. And I'm going to say it. Just do it. And now they need to do this here in the country right here with what's going on. People are tired of this. They're tired of this rhetoric that the left is causing up there. Enough is enough. Enough of this BS COVID stuff too. I've had enough with it. We know COVID's out there. We've talked about it, but quit using it politically. And we're all tired of it. So anyway, go on, Jerry, because you know I'm frustrated with it, as always.
Well, it's very interesting, with these truck drivers. Again, they were considered essential in the beginning, and, our economy would not run without them. And, all we've done with, not when I say we, I mean our governments, all our governments have done is dump on these truck drivers the last few months, with making them sit at the port and not load up their trucks, and vaccine mandates and, things like that. And it's just, so, I mean, it shouldn't be any surprise that these truck drivers are, basically acting out the way that they're acting out, as far as trying to draw attention to their cause.
Right.
And, and then, today I heard the Prime Minister of Canada, the young lady, what's her name, Trudeau.
Yep.
And, and then, he was out there talking about how they can't stand for the violence of the truck drivers and their supporters flying the swastika flag and the Confederate flag, which turned out to be a lie because it wasn't the truck driver supporters. It was actually the Antifa people that were trying to make the truck drivers look bad.
Right.
And then now they have now passed rules against honking your horn in Ottawa. So if the truck drivers honk their horn, they can be arrested. I mean, oh my God, are you kidding me? You could be arrested for honking your horn now because they're trying to silence them.
And that's what they're doing.
That's what leftists do. Leftist ideas are so good that they have to make them mandatory,
Right. Well, it also comes down to we're seeing shortages in grocery stores. Guess what? Let's talk to the truck drivers in the U.S. You know what? If you're going to if you go out there and do this, and you guys are going to go against these forced vaccine mandates, this is freedom of choice. It is up to you if you want to get a vaccine or not. Obviously, the Supreme Court made a decision on it, and you got a lot of these companies out there like Hershey. And look, I'm going to tell you, you got these companies out there like Hershey's one of them. We can go into many, many more companies. You truck drivers, I'm going to tell you something. If you really want to think about it, don't deliver to them. Don't pick up stuff from them and deliver to these stores then. Let's just say it that way. Find out how their opinion changes then on things. Truck drivers, you're the number one people out there that get the food to places. We're already starting to see shelves get low in certain areas for certain things. I'm going to tell you, if you truck drivers go ahead and stop all that and do what they're doing in Canada, guess what? Yes, we're going to be having real shortages of food and everything else. And you know what? That comes back on the left and their radical agenda pushing this on people. So I'm just saying this has got to stop. It really has got to stop because there is no common sense up in D.C. at all. There is none. And I'm going to also talk about the left and the right. There's a lot of people right now on the right up there with no common sense. All they're focused on is January 6th. Look, we talk about Liz Cheney. She's already a clown. She's useless. Look, Mitch McConnell. Jerry's going to talk about him. Mitch McConnell's doing stupid stuff up right there right now. Let me tell you, January 6th, we've talked about it. It was a bunch of stupid people who did some stupid things. But guess what? How many people got really hurt? How many, Jerry? You know this answer.
Well, there was one that got killed, and that was by a Capitol police officer.
Yeah.
And he was not even investigated for that. And, whenever a police officer shoots somebody out on, the public streets,
right,
we know the police officer's name within hours, and, they're accused of, overstepping their authority and everything like that. This guy literally killed somebody who was standing next to, by the way, other police officers when that guy shot. So he put other police officers in danger. And, the thing about January 6th is, with some stupid stuff done. Yeah. But you know what? I am seeing video after video after video of cops just opening the door, letting people come in, not even trying to stop them. Police officers in riot gear standing there while one of the people in the crowd is saying, why aren't you calling for backup? They're just not doing anything. And it's like, I don't know why they weren't stopping people from going in. I know there's all the conspiracy theories out there that this was set up by Pelosi and everything. And you know what? I can't discount that might not have happened. That's not what I necessarily think, but I sure would like to know why she didn't give the additional police support for January 6th. And I would sure like to know why the police officers didn't try and keep people out. Because I got to tell you something. If they had simply just locked the doors and stood inside the doors, I don't think that would have happened.
Yeah. No.
So it's just, our government is not only our government, but other governments around the world are just, they're going crazy. And this might be part of the whole, when they talk about, trying to come down with, one world government or something like that, once they get control of the people and the people can't do anything about it. But I got to tell you something, you were mentioning the truck drivers too. And the truck drivers in Canada are doing a fantastic job.
They are.
As a matter of fact, the police up there are actually doing unconstitutional things.
Right.
Like, for example, I was watching the police chief for, I guess it was Ottawa, where the main thing of the protest has been. And he was saying just ridiculous things like what they've been arresting people for and what they've been citing people for. Stuff, like I said, like honking their horns.
Yeah.
He said that they are arresting people for trying to take gas to the truckers.
Right. I heard this.
Like he said, if they see them like on a horse with gas cans, or if they're walking down the street with gas cans or something like that, that they're stopping and detaining them, which is not constitutional or legal. No. And so, I was listening to this. And so, basically they let Black Lives Matter and Antifa literally assault police officers with frozen bottles of water, with bricks, with other stuff, spit in their faces and everything like that. These guys are peacefully protesting.
Right.
And the cops are doing everything they can to stop it. When BLM and Antifa were going, just crazy. They were letting them burn down buildings. They were letting them destroy stuff. They were letting them, so, there's a political agenda here. This is nothing about what's right or wrong.
That's all it is. It's about who has power, and they're trying to keep the power and take it away from the people. And guys, it is not happening. Not at all. Truck drivers across the whole country right now, listen to this podcast. Follow Canada. Do the right thing.
Well, there's also, I forget which two countries it was, but I was reading yesterday about two countries in Europe where the truck drivers are starting to do the same thing.
Yeah, it's becoming a world phenomenon. What's going on?
Which two it was, but I was very impressed with that. And and then if you want to talk politics, here in the U.S. they were talking about doing the truck thing. They're probably going to, but then what do you call it? Gofundme seized all the money that was raised and was going to give it out until they got backlash.
Yeah.
And it's like, frankly, that's stealing.
Yeah, absolutely.
If people donate money to a thing like GoFundMe to, to fund something, and then GoFundMe just takes the money and uses it for their own purposes. I don't care if they're donating it to charity or not.
Right.
That's stealing.
Right.
I
And
didn't give you my money.
Right. And I'm bringing that up
for you
too.
to give it to your charity.
Right. I was going to bring that up as well. And I'm telling you, people, don't give one thing to GoFundMe ever again because of what they just did. They have no agenda of helping people. I am not for this group at all now after seeing this. So it's bad. And I'm very frustrated. I haven't been on in about over a week, guys, because I wanted to back away from social media for a while. I wanted to back away from it. I have a family I like to think about. I should say I like to take care of my family, spend time with them, and not think about this. But there's a point where I've got to stand up for the people in this country, and I've got to go ahead and fight when it comes to podcasts, when it comes to getting out there and talking to people on the street, whatever I've got to do. And I'm here for you guys. I've got to work hard to do this. And I'm going to get out there and campaign very much here soon, I should say, when I can get out there when it gets warm. We're going to be out there in the streets talking to people. But regardless, this whole thing is exploding. 3 million plus truck drivers and people. And now guess what? It's not just truck drivers. Thank you, farmers. I hear you guys are out there doing things too, and you're going against this with the Canadians and cowboys on horses. Awesome. You know what? I would be out there on a horse myself, even if it's that cold, because I love horses. I think that's awesome. You guys are doing a great job. And you know what? Shame on you, police up there that are against what's going on with this. I am very disappointed in the Canadian police right now up there. It is sad to see that they're not standing up for the rights of people and freedom. Now, I'm not saying all of them. I'm not going to say that because I'm sure some of them are sitting there going, I want to do something. Well, guess what? Then do it. Walk away from that police department. Get away from them. Because I'll tell you what, in this country, in the U.S., most of the police would be supporting the truck drivers right now. And we see a lot of that. And I hear from police all the time. So, and I love our law enforcement here. So, Jerry, anything else on that?
Yeah, you know what? It's kind of funny because law enforcement in, my history has always been something that, as a child that I looked up to. Yeah. And now, even though there's a lot of good police officers out there, law enforcement in general is starting to disgust me. Yeah. Our FBI is not doing their job. Our Department of Justice is not doing their job. Our Attorney General doesn't do his job. Nope. Now you see the police chiefs in these big cities are, willing to either ignore what's going on when it's BLM or Antifa. Right. But, then they're doing the bidding of their Democrat masters, when it's somebody that they don't agree with. Right. And, that's basically attacking somebody based on their politics. And that's not ethical, moral, legal, any of that. But then none of our attorney generals or anybody else are doing anything about it. Right. So, I'm pretty frustrated with that. And, I will tell you something. One reason I bring that up is I was watching an interview earlier with this trucker in Canada, and his son was in the truck with him. Sure. And so they were talking about the support that they've gotten from the people up there. Yeah. People are bringing them meals. People are bringing them cookies. People are doing their laundry for them while they stay in their truck. People are inviting them to their homes to eat. Wow. They're saying, hey, if you need to take a shower, because you guys have been out here for a few days, come to my house and take a shower. And it's like, wow. So obviously the people support what's going on. Yeah. And so, for the, I love how the left always throws this reference out. So I'm going to do that. So, with governments like the Biden administration, Trudeau administration going all Nazi and, attacking their political opponents because they don't know how to legally and legitimately defeat them. Right. So, they're using Nazi tactics. Right. And it's like. Absolutely. But then again, Trudeau comes from this ultra leftist, family from when he was younger. And so, he's an ultra leftist, always has been. And, as a matter of fact, when the truckers said they were coming, what did Trudeau do? He ran and hid like a little girl. Yeah. Okay. And it's like he ran and hid, and it's like, I can't be there when they show up. And then he's, oh, well, my son had COVID. Well, if your son had COVID, shouldn't you have stayed at home? Yeah, exactly. And it's like, no, 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 no. It's like, I'm afraid because these big bad truckers might actually inconvenience me somehow. So I'm going to run away and hide. Yeah, that's the
That
guy that
was
should be
actually
leading a
funny.
country,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You
Funny,
know,
but sad, but true.
yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's a good leader for your country up there, Canada. Remember that next time, it's time to take him out, by voting him out. Anyway, this whole thing just fires me up just more and more and more. I hear it and just what goes on. And I mean, even here locally, I mean, we have businesses and companies out there that are, trying to do, we need to see your vaccine card and all that. You know what? I think the food trucks out there, I saw this recently. Hey, all you food trucks out there, if you're listening, if there's a restaurant asking for a vaccine card, go park your truck right in front of that restaurant and get some of their business. I'm going to tell you, get it. That's for sure.
And put a sign on the outside of your truck,
Yep.
no mask necessary.
And no vaccine passport.
Yeah. Yep.
You know where you can do with that passport, Biden. I'll tell you where you can put it. So, that's right. He has a diaper on anyway.
Yeah, really.
So, regardless, it's just sad to see what's going on around the world. And it's not just the country, it's the world. I mean, it's the world.
Well, see, here's one problem that we're having too.
Yeah.
Is that there are so many problems and issues going on right now where our government and other governments are failing us.
Yeah.
That they try and hide one failure by, publicizing something else.
Right.
But then when that turns to be a failure, they don't know what to do. So then they have to find another one. So here's Biden, who's an absolute disaster as president. Okay. He really doesn't even know what he's doing. As a matter of fact, I know we've joked about it, but I think sometimes he doesn't even realize he's president.
Yeah.
He's
a senator, isn't he, or something? No. Oh, okay.
Yeah, really. Yeah. Hi, I'm Joe Biden. I'm running for Senate.
Yeah.
I remember when he said that in South Carolina. But, so the thing is, they're trying. So he's a disaster as a president. He criticized President Trump during the debates. And at that point in time, there had been about 200,000 Americans that had died from COVID.
Yeah.
And he criticized Trump and said any president that presides over 200,000 American deaths should not be president. They should just step down and walk away.
Right.
Well, Biden's now over 500,000. So why hasn't he taken his own advice and resigned? Oh, yeah, because he's a liar, too.
Oh, of course. He's always been a liar.
Like, yeah, exactly. So, but the thing is, so he's failed on COVID. He has failed as a president. He has not signed a budget into law yet. And so they're going to do another continuing resolution. So he's a failure as a president. So then what happens is then Putin puts 127,000 troops. Here's what a lot of people don't realize. Yeah. If you look at the map of where those troops are, a lot of people say, oh, the Russians have 127,000 troops on the border with Ukraine. No, they don't have 127,000 troops like along one linear border.
Right.
They have 127,000 troops almost completely encircling Ukraine, thanks to the fact that the Obama administration let the Crimean Peninsula fall. Yep. And so now the Russians have troops there. So they literally have Crimea nearly surrounded. Okay. Right. I'm sorry, that's not a military exercise. So what is Biden's response? Well, first he said, if you do a minor incursion, then anything more than a minor incursion, we would have to do something about, which basically is telling him, oh, if you do a minor incursion, then we won't do anything. So then he comes back and says, well, any violation of Ukraine's borders, we will sanction you. Okay, you know what? We don't need to hear that nonsense.
No, we don't.
Okay, what you need to say is okay, look, you knock it off. And it's like, because if we think you're going to attack, we're going to start sanctioning you, financially. But if one soldier puts 1 foot in Ukraine, we're going to crush you like a bug.
Yep.
We will destroy you. We will have mothers weeping in the streets of Moscow, as they watch all the coffins parade by. And you know what? Most of those coffins are going to be empty because we're going to liquefy your troops with our weapons. There's not even going to be anything to put in the coffin. That's what you tell them. Now, does that happen? Hopefully not.
No.
But they need to know what the consequences are. Right now, Putin's like a little kid who, has gotten caught, stealing candy out of a candy jar at home.
Yeah.
And instead of punishing him for it, his mom says, okay, well, no more.
Right.
And the kid says, well, what happens if I do another one? And it's
Right.
like, well, I'll get angry.
Right.
So what? I still get my candy. You're angry, but I still get my candy.
Yeah. Well,
and it's like, I can fade the anger for, 10 minutes or 20 minutes or whatever.
yeah.
So basically what we need to do is we need to let him know the consequence. Now you tell that kid the consequence is going to be, okay, hey, remember we were going to the movies Saturday? Well, you're not going to the movies Saturday if I catch you doing that.
Yeah.
And not only that, you're going to get a spanking, or you're going to lose your favorite toy, or, I'm going to take your phone away from you. And and it's like, so, there's got to be a consequence. And right now,
Right.
Russia's consequence isn't big enough to deter them.
Not at all.
And the only reason we're even talking about that is because Biden's a failure as a president. So he's trying to sound, confident that, on the world stage that he can do something to stop Russia.
Well, he was told to do this. You know that.
Well, no, exactly. And it's like, but so he's a failure as a president. So now he's trying to bolster himself in the public opinion by, telling Russia that he's going to be a tough guy, but he's not going to be a tough guy. As a matter of fact, I'll tell you what, if we woke up tomorrow, we sent some troops to Poland and we sent some troops to, a couple other countries in that region. If we woke up tomorrow and found out that the Russians had rolled into Ukraine, we would probably be doing very little.
I know. I agree.
Our
Nothing
people
will
in
be
Poland
done.
would be observing what's going on and hoping to stop any human rights violations or, something like that. I mean, you know what we need over there? We need, F-18s and F-35s and B-52s and, and anti-aircraft missiles and tell them, hey, if one plane crosses into Ukrainian airspace, they're down. If 10 planes cross in, they're down. If 100 planes cross in, they're down. And, it's like, and they just need to know in no uncertain terms. And frankly, I can't blame Putin. If nobody was there to stop him, why would he stop?
Right.
Well,
and he also he's got to keep the planes here because he's already threatened us with them, right?
Yeah, really. Exactly.
Yeah.
But seriously, so it's one thing leading to another. Biden's failure to, handle the coronavirus led him to, get involved in the supply chain issue, which he's failed on that.
Yeah.
And now he's failing on the Ukraine thing. So, so each thing is leading him to the next step, and he has failed in every step of the way,
One thing I want to say about the coronavirus real quick, because obviously the numbers are going down, and they're going down because the variants are changing, and that's what we've talked about. We've talked about them getting weaker, less people are dying from it, and things like that. I've talked about this many times. Jerry and I have already been on different podcasts, or not podcasts, but media sites talking, listening to doctors, nurses, and everything else multiple times, and they're saying the same thing that we've been saying. Yet they're saying this whole thing's crazy, especially with these boosters, which we've talked about that. I don't want to talk about COVID a lot tonight. But guess what? Because the numbers are going down, you know what's going to happen? Biden's going to say, look what I did. No, you didn't. You didn't do a damn thing, and I hate cussing, but you didn't. It's gotten ridiculous, and that's exactly what it is, because he tries to take credit for
shut it down when he took over the presidency.
He's a liar.
Now more people have died under him than under Trump.
Yeah, and you know what? I mean, they're just going to use this for political gain. That's all they do. And people, open your eyes and look at what is going on. Open your eyes. And I know I'm emotional tonight about this, but I'm tired of this crap. I really am. And I try not to cuss. I'm so angry right now with this. I really am, because I'm passionate and I'm an American citizen. And, my right is because these guys work for us. They work for me as well. Do your job. Quit trying to be, in power all the time. Look at Pelosi. She's going to try to rerun again. How old is she? 82 now? It's ridiculous. Hey, Alexa, how old is Nancy?
Doesn't look a day over 105.
Alexa, how old is Nancy Pelosi?
Nancy Pelosi is 81 years
81 years old. Gosh, guys, I mean, we can't judge on age, but that's what term limits do. That's what I keep saying. Have term limits. Let's talk about Mitch McConnell today. What did he say, Jerry, about January 6th? And I'll go into that.
He basically, he touched on a couple things. And the reason that January 6th came up is he was criticizing the Republican National
Yeah.
Committee for censuring Adam Kinzinger and Liz Cheney.
Yeah.
And so while he was talking about that, then he brought up the dangerous insurrection trying to stop the peaceful transition of power. There was never a moment where they were trying to stop the peaceful transition of
No.
power. The people on January 6th were trying to get their voice heard
Yeah.
and say, hey, we think something stinks about this election, and we just want you
course.
to do your job and investigate it and find out what happened.
Right.
And that's what happened on January 6th. And it's
Right.
like, did a couple people go into a building? Yeah, but you know what?
Yeah.
No fires were lit. No, frozen water bottles thrown at the cops. You know,
No.
I mean, nobody was spitting in the faces of the cops. Nobody was,
No.
assaulting people. And the only person that was killed by the cop
Right.
that was never even investigated.
Right. And like I said, I had friends that were there, and they actually, one of them was a police officer, and he saw the whole thing. He's like, they left the gates open and backed away. And
Yeah,
it's
I was
out there
with
in
you at lunch
video.
when he showed us the video
Yes.
of the cops doing that.
Yes.
And by the way, something I have heard before, but I just forgot about, is the fact that Mitch McConnell's in-laws own one of the largest shipping companies that does business with China.
There you go.
And so, now all of a sudden, when people are talking about, things against China and sanctions,
Oh, yeah.
and everything like that, well, he's not a big fan of that because that would hurt his family's business.
Yes.
Sad.
It's sad that he's got to do this stuff.
Well, I mean, here's McConnell.
Go ahead.
He's similar to Biden in this aspect. He's over 40 years in D.C.
Yeah.
And the same problems that existed that he ran on and has vowed to fix are still there and unsolved by him and his compatriots because they know that there's no money in fixing things.
Oh, absolutely.
You keep them broken, and then you get a reason to run for re-election.
Yes. And I'm going to say this. I was mentioning to somebody tonight who's on the left, and I said, have you seen what's going on? Have you seen all the truck drivers, what's going on and everything else? And I said, it's crazy right now how many truck drivers. And he goes, what are you talking about? Haven't you heard? What are you talking about? There is your social media guys and your media out there and your news agencies that they listen to. What are you talking about? They have no idea. And guess what? You want to talk about people that don't know what's going on? Let's talk about Russia. Let's talk about China. People are not informed of what's going on out there and the truth. Because you've got these news agencies like CNN, they don't mention anything about it. WRAL right here in Raleigh, another liberal company, hardly mentions anything about it. They really don't. They have, but not much. And CNN just picked it up, I think, yesterday. They said the first thing about it yesterday. So, and there's other news agencies. I can go through a variety of them. So, and not everything's based on Fox News, guys, for you guys out there on the left, because that's all you bring up is Fox News. There's other places to see it. I've seen it on social.
It's funny that you say that, Brian.
Yeah.
I know that you know this, but I'll just go ahead and state this for some of the other folks listening.
Yeah.
Election night of 2020 was the last time that I watched Fox News.
Right.
Okay, so I don't get my information. I mean, they were never my only source anyways.
I mean, neither
but
for me, no.
because of the way that they treated Trump in the lead up to the election and on election night, I have not watched Fox News since the 2020 election. So, let's see, November, December, January. So that's a year and 3 months that I haven't watched Fox News. And I got to tell you something, there's some people on there that I like. I like Tucker Carlson. I like Jesse Waters. I like Laura Ingraham.
Right.
Hannity annoys me sometimes with his narcissism, but, his information is good, and it's like, well, no, and I do like him.
Yeah, of course, I know.
But, it's always like, oh, I do mixed martial arts and I do this and I do that. And it's like, you know what, Sean, we don't really care, buddy. And it's like, we want to hear what the news is.
Right.
But, and he does a good job of giving the information too,
Yeah.
And I do listen to him on the radio.
Right. We hear Patriot
for all the people
Radio
saying Fox News this, Fox News that, I haven't watched him in over a year. And a lot of people like me haven't.
Right. Well, I mean, I listen to other news sources. I listen to, obviously, I do look at CNN as well. I check it out. And after I'm done, I want to scratch my eyes out. And then I make sure it's off my app so they don't get any credit for anything. But, and then, I do see some things they put out there kind of nice. Once in a while, I see a little video of an animal. Hey, good for you. Did one thing nice. But otherwise, I mean, I listen to Newsmax. I do my research. And a lot of it, guess what? I see just with the truck drivers, people doing videos. I've seen live videos where it's live feed and they're showing what's going on the ground. And you know what? No violent protesting at all. Peaceful protesting. And I actually saw ministers talking to the police officers, praying right there with the police officers, saying, look, I'm praying for you. Do the right thing. Think of your families. Think of the freedoms. Talking to these police officers, they're trying to get these police officers to wake up and realize, hey, we are the citizens of this country. And that's also what you got to remember for you police up there. But anyway, that's not just it. There's other news sources. And, Jerry, go on.
Going back full circle to where you started, though, because, you're talking about, the police officers. Yeah. And it's like, and a large number of the police officers are good people.
They are great people.
As a matter of fact, you want to know what most of my friends in the past couple of years that I felt were good police officers, you know what they're doing now?
What?
Retiring.
Oh, yeah.
They're sick of it, too. I just went to a retirement. You and I talked about that a couple of weeks ago. I went to a retirement of a friend of mine here in North Carolina. I've got another one that retired out of Kentucky and lives in Atlanta now. I've got, other ones that have retired and moved on to other stuff. And it's like the good ones are retiring. And it's like, because of all the nonsense. And then
they don't have the authority to do what they're supposed to. Like when we talked about it a minute ago, obviously they stand there while BLM spits on them and everything else, and Antifa and all those groups, and they're like, their hands are tied. Look, we talked about one incident happened where I saw somebody stealing out of a certain store here in Apex, North Carolina. I ran up to the person. I said, you're stealing. And there was a big fiasco over it, but a lot of people were there saying, yes, you're stealing. But the store manager came out and talked to me and said, it's sad because even the police, their hands are tied. Because even if someone steals, I forget the amount, but we're going to say $500, so they can get in there and get a Dyson vacuum cleaner is what I was told. And they can walk right out the door with it, walk out, and it's a misdemeanor. Seriously. And they have no right to touch them or anything else. That's wrong.
You got to remember, too, where we live here in North Carolina.
Yes. Okay. I know. We got
our sheriff.
Governor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Our sheriff has refused to honor ICE detainers for illegal immigrants.
Right.
Our sheriff has refused to arrest people for certain crimes. And, because, they're not big enough crimes. I'm sorry. I don't know. I thought when you broke the law, you broke the law.
Yes.
I didn't think that it was a matter of, well, did you break it enough? If you break it, you break it. If you go to the doctor and they x-ray your leg, they don't go, well, your leg's only broken so much. No, your leg's broken. They put it in a cast, And it's like, so the thing is, well, we know it's a crime, but it's not really that much of a crime. What kind of garbage is that?
Oh, yeah.
Gerald Baker needs to go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Donnie Harrison. I've got to say it.
Yeah. Donnie Harrison.
We love you.
Yeah. Donnie Harrison. I am so glad when I heard he was running again.
Yes.
I already had my guy that I was going to support, if Harrison wasn't running.
Yeah.
But that was before I knew Harrison was going to run.
Right.
Once I heard Harrison was running, I was on the guy's Facebook page one day, and somebody was talking about the other guy, as I won't say his name right now, but, somebody was talking about the other guy.
Right.
And I said, you know what? I said, he's my number two. I said, now that Harrison's back in the race, I said, Donnie's my guy. And a lot of people, responded with similar comments to mine. And it's like, so there, Donnie Harrison was a great sheriff here. And,
he's a
basically
good person too.
Yeah, he's a good person too.
On top
as a matter of fact, where I met him?
Yeah.
I met him at the state capitol during a Veterans Day event.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you know where I met him the next time?
No.
At the next Veterans event.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And then at the one after that. And at the one after that, because not only is he a good person, but he's a good American.
Absolutely.
And he believes in supporting our troops and, recognizing our veterans and everything like that. And it's like, this guy, Gerald Baker, is garbage. Yeah. He's human garbage. And it's like, if we allow people like that to be in control, then, we basically get what is coming to us with that. I mean,
Yeah.
as a matter of fact, it was funny. I was, I'll go controversial here for a second, like I've never done that before, right? I was in a gun store a couple months ago. Sorry about that, Brian. But I was in a gun store a couple months ago, and there was a sheriff's deputy there, and I said, "Hey, you know what?" I said, "I'm sorry that you got your current boss." I said, "But I just want to let you know that I'll be voting to give you Donnie Harrison back as your boss." And he kind of looked at me and he smiled and he kind of gave me that knowing glance, like, "Yep, okay, good." But he didn't even feel comfortable like saying,
Yeah.
"Hey, thank you," or
Yep.
anything like that, because he's so worried about the repercussions if somebody
Right.
got back to the sheriff and said, "Oh, well,
Yeah.
deputy so and so." But you could tell.
Yeah. Yeah, and I hear it from many other sheriffs. Same type of scenario. I hear it around. But anyway, we're cutting the show. Like I said, we're not going to take it an hour tonight. We're cutting it back a little bit. We got a lot going on here. But anyway, anything else, Jerry, before we end this?
Yeah, I can't remember the name of the organization. I don't know if you know it. Maybe we can, put it out there on another podcast. But as you said, don't ever give another dime to GoFundMe,
Nope.
because of what they pulled. Okay.
Nope.
I can't remember the name of the other group, though. There is another funding organization that the American group is going to use. And I'm trying to remember what the name of that organization was. It's like
Yep.
Give, Send, Go or something like that.
Yeah.
So look that up, folks. I think it's Give, Send, Go.
Okay.
But look that up. Don't ever use GoFundMe again. I mean, it's
Yeah.
like, they've pulled some really crazy stuff. And, like, for example, when people got put in jail for January 6th, they wouldn't let people raise money for their legal defense on that, but they would let people from BLM do it,
Right.
and it's like for their riots. And it's
Right.
like, so yeah, just don't ever use
So,
GoFundMe again.
yep.
GoFundMe is, they've chosen their ideological bent and they're going to stick with it. And, hey, I'm not a big fan of cancel culture necessarily, but
Right.
I'm also not going to spend my money where it's not appreciated.
Right.
So, that's my thought on that.
All right. And
But going back to the beginning of the whole thing, man,
Yep.
the truckers, guys, please do support them. When you see them out there on the road, wave to them,
Thank them.
Honk your horn, thank them,
Absolutely.
do whatever. And, as a matter of fact, you know what? I know that the first person to do something oftentimes can't be the one that has the most spectacular result. So the Canadian truckers, I thought what they did was pretty good. But you know what? Hey, when this thing gets going in the U.S., they're talking about leaving California and heading to Washington, D.C.
Go
What
for
I
it.
think would be absolutely
Yep.
spectacular is if along the way, just regular Americans in your car, in your minivan, in your
Yep.
pickup truck, on your motorcycle, jump in with them. Even if you can't go all the way to DC, when they're going
Yeah.
across Oklahoma, if you live in Oklahoma,
Yeah. Have
jump
fun.
in with them and make it bigger in Oklahoma. And it's like, and
Yes.
then when it gets to Arkansas,
It's a
do
great
the same
idea.
thing. And and it's like, so you people out there that are listening, I mean, you can truly make this a memorable point in time, in the United States. And the thing is, I'll never take away from the Canadian truck drivers what they did, because they got this thing started. And it's like, and as a matter of fact, thanks to the Canadian truck drivers, did you see New York City today, of all places?
No.
300 workers in New York City were protesting the mandatory vaccines of people in New York City, of the
Good
city
for them.
workers.
Yep.
And so what they did was they were protesting and they walked across the Brooklyn Bridge. And, basically 300 of them walked across. So they had to stop traffic on the bridge.
Good.
And, and in the middle, and Brian, you're going to love this
I
one, man,
don't.
because I
Hey,
know in New
I don't
York, you don't
condone
hear,
stopping traffic, though. Remember
yeah,
that.
you don't hear a
You
lot
know
of
me.
patriotic stuff coming out
Yeah.
of New York. So you're going to love this next part. Halfway across the bridge, they were carrying this giant, those big flags that they hold out before
Right.
football games sometimes, where
Right.
they cover half the field or whatever.
Yes.
They had one of those. Okay.
Yeah.
And halfway across the bridge, they stopped and did the Pledge of Allegiance.
Good for them.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And
Great
one of my
thing.
favorite interviews at the whole thing today,
Yep.
they had this guy who came out and said, "I'm vaccinated." And he says, "But we don't need to be segregating our society by,
Right.
vaccinated and unvaccinated, everything like that." He says, "So one of the first things I did today when I got here is I showed up to support the people's right to choose whether they get vaccinated or not. He says, and I took out my vaccination card and I held it up for everybody to see, and I ripped it up and tore it into little pieces.
Absolutely. Great job. And that's another idea for you vaccinated people who are supporting this cause. Do that. Do something like that. Rip that card up then if that's the case.
Actually, you know what? That's a great point.
It's a
You can
great
take your
idea.
vaccination card, rip it up into little pieces,
Yeah.
put it in a Ziploc bag, and carry it with you. When
Yep.
somebody says, I need to see your vaccination card,
Yep.
pull out the bag and show it to them.
Yeah. I know. All right, guys. Well, we need to end this. I do want to say one last thing, and guess what? Social media. Let's talk about the one thing with the truck drivers, and I kind of pieced this together. Last week, I believe it was, the truck drivers got cut off Facebook. 2 days later, Mark Zuckerberg lost $22 billion. Does that tell you something?
That was just his personal money. That wasn't the company. That was just his money.
Absolutely. And that right there just tells you something, though, because when they're all tied together somehow here. I'm telling you. I don't care if this guy loses all of his money. I mean, I'm tired of this stuff. I'm tired of it. But anyway, God bless you guys. God bless for listening. Go to www.just-common-sense.com. You go www.just-common-sense.com. Let me repeat that. So, guys, go to that website. Check it out. Definitely go to my YouTube podcast. That's the biggie. Go there and definitely share, subscribe, and tell your friends about it. Also, I'm on Spotify. I'm on Apple. I am in a lot of places out there, and definitely want to hear back from you guys. My email's out there. And as always, I want to thank our law enforcement for everything you do. I do want to thank the Canadian law enforcement. If you do the right thing and
except for the police chief of Ottawa.
Yeah. But if you do the right thing, and if you want to, walk away if you have to. Think about what's going on, really. Think about your families. And if you've been vaccinated, even as the law enforcement up there, that's fine. But remember, it's freedom of choice. And look what's going on in Europe. They've abandoned everything, the mask, everything. And other countries are doing it as well. Wake up, see what's going on. You don't want to be one of the last ones, especially Canada. Come on. You're almost like the U.S., right next to us. And this has got to stop here in the U.S. We all know better than this. I do want to thank our military, as always. You guys are doing a great job. We know a lot of people have been deployed overseas. We know a couple ourselves. Of course, they can't tell us where they're going because it's all secretive, but we got a good feeling where we know where they're going. And then again, I do want to thank our truck drivers, especially right now, again and again and again and again. Wake up, guys, in the U.S., truck drivers. Let's do this. Let's get this thing rolling. There's an old song called Convoy. Start playing it.
C.B. McCall.
Yep. Listen to that old song. Start playing it. And watch some Smokey and the Bandit reruns. They were really good.
Yep.
So that'll tell you. Where am I going? Oh, farmers, by the way. Thank you guys for doing this. And same thing with you farmers. Get out there and just support this cause. What's going on right now? Because we're going to see grocery stores. They're starting to see empty shelves. I want you guys to go post those little things. No, I didn't say this out loud, did I, about posting this? I did that with Joe Biden on the grocery shelves next instead of just gas pumps. I laugh at those things when I see them. I know people that do them and put them on gas pumps. I know somebody on the other side of this. Otherwise, anything else, Jerry? Here he goes.
Phrase, I did that. Yeah.
I did that.
Well, I can verify.
Yes.
Okay. For anybody that's curious, I can verify that the stickers that I bought work in -3 degrees because I was in Pennsylvania 2 weeks ago, and that's what the temperature was when I was getting gas, and those stickers stuck to the pump in -3, so they still work.
And they'll stick on grocery store shelves that are empty as well.
Yep. Hey, Brian, real quick, I
Yeah.
looked it up while we were talking.
Yeah.
And the site I'm talking about is called Give, Send, Go. And it is the #1 Christian fundraising site. So basically, they're a Christian version of Gofundme. And, basically, they're not going to stop anybody for a political difference.
Right.
So Give, Send, Go.
All right. That sounds great. So remember that website, write it down. And guys, as always, God bless you. God bless America. And we will be out there doing more podcasts. Just took a break from it for a while. We needed it. I will also be on TikTok tonight. I got to do a video there. I'm also on Twitter as well. These are sites that none of us like, some of them, but I have to get out there. And some of these sites actually, some of them have been pretty good to me. And fake book, well, no, okay, that's another story. But anyway, guys, thank you, and God bless you, and have a great night, and take care. Good night. We'll talk to you in a day or two.